to you at home. Welcome to yet another episode of AfroShowbiz News, the show that keeps bringing you all things art and entertainment from around the African continent. Stay with us for the next half hour. To keep in touch, feel free to email us at afroshowbiznews@sabc.co.za. We are also on Twitter, so do follow us on @AfroShowbizNews. Let's have a look at stories making headlines. The first vendor language film, Elelwani, opens in South Africa. The Beauty and the Beast stage production in Johannesburg's Barnyard Theatre. And we bring you the Gambia International Cultural Festival. Let's start by congratulating South African traditional Zulu isicathamiya group Ladysmith Black Mambazo. They've won the Best World Music Album Award at the Grammys this year. The group shared the award with flamenco fusionists from France, Gypsy Kings. Ladysmith Black Mambazo's rhythmic a cappella performances preserved the musical traditions of South Africa's black mine workers. The award is for the album Singing for Peace Around the World. They dedicated their work on the album to late South African President Nelson Mandela and promised to donate the proceeds of the album to the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. This is Mambazo's 4th Grammy. Elelwani is South Africa's first vendor language film. It tells a story of a modern girl who returns to her rural village from university to find few surprises.
The feared one.
It's not easy to play someone who is at least 15 years younger than you are. Florence Masebe found this out as she was preparing for her role in Elelwani.
The preparation involved going to have loads and loads of anti-aging collagen facials because I was expected to play a very young girl. At the time when this was starting, I was 37 years old, so it was not very easy. I was self-conscious and panicked a little bit about that, and it involved a lot of running, walking and dancing to try and shed weight at the time because I had just come out of hospital and had bloated from being on steroids. And then the rest of it really involved a lot of work with the director. We rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed, and when we knew we had found everyone, we were comfortable, we went to shoot.
Masebe is the lead actress in the first ever vendor feature film. She plays the title role of Elelwani. Her efforts have led to her receiving an important continental award.
It's absolutely beautiful, bittersweet. You know, I have always wished that if I get awarded, it would be on home ground. So it was kind of bittersweet that my first award for this, and very big one, had to be the biggest accolade for an actress on the continent of Africa. Best leading role, best actress in a lead role in the Africa Movie Academy Award. It was really, really beautiful. It was a little bit sad that I was doing it so far away from home, so there weren't enough people to cheer and be happy with me in the audience.
Elelwani is now in cinemas across South Africa.
And now joining us in studio is the director of Elelwani, Nchabeni Waluruli. Hello and welcome to AfroShowbiz News.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Now please take us through what has been the journey of making this specific film.
It has been a long, winding journey to bring this film to fruition. At first, the plan was to bring this literary work by indigenous African authors in indigenous languages to turn them into television series so that our kids should be exposed to these cultures and traditions and themes that these books deal with. Well, I was not successful with the SABC. I brought the scripts and proposal to the SABC. So I was given a hard time, a rigmarole, running around. But finally, we decided to take one of the books and make a feature film out of it.
All right, now, Nchabeni, this is the first vendor film in South Africa. Why did you decide to make a vendor film?
You see, just to correct you, it's not the first vendor film. There are lots of hundreds of vendor films that have been done in vendor. This perhaps is the very first feature film in Chivenda to be distributed in theatrical releases. I decided to do that in Chivenda because we haven't seen any vendor stories, you know, either on television or in theaters. So, and more so to bring certain relevant themes that are relevant to South Africa today and the rest of the continent.
Now, in terms of funding and production, how did you guys source that?
I'm laughing because it took us 9 years to raise funds to make this film. Everywhere we went, try to, you know, to pitch to the people. We want to make a film about who? Vendor. Vendor? No, we're not interested about people who are selling potatoes on the... No. This is not about people selling potatoes on the streets. These are people called vendor from Limpopo. So, you know, there's very little known about vendor people, even including South Africans. I mean, there are certain areas in South Africa where vendors are regarded as foreigners in South Africa, vendors and the Shangans. So that was part of the problem, and I think it was also part of the problem why the SABC was not keen to adapt, to accept this thing so we can shoot them for television. But finally we struggled at the end, and we got very little money from the Lotto and other sources. And we decided, well, we don't have enough budget, but me and Florian, who's the producer of the film, just simply said, you know, if we cannot make this film with this amount of money, this film will never be made.
Now, let me just interrupt you. You worked with some well-acclaimed actors and actresses in the film. How was that journey?
It was very easy. When you're working with people like Florence Masebe, and you have to see the film. She sizzles in the film. I mean, she's very great. Part of the challenges was that, again, I keep on harping on this issue. Part of the problem is that we had very few professional vendor actors, precisely because we do not have vendor stories where we can cultivate vendor actors. You know, so there were very few of them. So the film is made up out of a mixture of you know, professionals and non-professionals. But fortunately, it is in Chivenda, and Florence is a Muvenda, and I'm a Muvenda. We understand the culture very well.
All right. Well, Chabeni, that is where we'll have to leave it. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Sudan held its first week-long independent film festival in the capital, Khartoum. It took place on the 21st to the 27th of January 2014.
Hundreds of moviegoers attended the first annual Sudan Independent Film Festival in Khartoum. Films mostly on show are from Kenya, Egypt and Sudan. Filmmakers hope to see a renaissance in Sudanese film. Sudan was seen as the heart of cutting-edge African cinema in the 1950s and the 60s. The capital, Khartoum, hosted the first Sudan Independent Film Festival this past week, garnering praise, support and some criticism from veterans in the industry.
The festival is attempting to become a platform for African and Sudanese filmmakers. We present films to the Sudanese audience to create interaction between them and the filmmakers. The festival also became an occasion for the filmmakers to meet and organize several workshops, sessions and lectures for young filmmakers.
Organizers want to promote the idea of African cinema in Sudan, and filmmakers seem to think this is working.
In fact, the workshops I organized here in Sudan opened new horizons which I was thinking about. I had heard about Sudanese filmmakers, but I had never seen their work. I felt from the discussions with them that there's a great will, motivation and imagination, as if we opened a door for a new world to a group of youths.
But veteran filmmakers like Ibrahim Shaddad, who studied in Germany in the 60s, questions the idea that film made in Sudan can truly be independent. Independent cinema is a term used in the West to counter the domination of the big companies, so smaller companies could then stand out, and because of that it was called independent cinema. In Sudan we don't have independent cinema, either in production or on show. Short film Camel, produced in 1980, was one of the productions when cinema was still managed within the Ministry of Culture. Years later, Sudanese cinema deteriorated after the emergence of TV and the state shifted its attention. Independent filmmakers are hoping for a change in the film industry without the influence of the state and big organizations that stifles down creativity.
Ugu Film Festival is calling for submissions. The festival takes place in South Africa's coastal city of Durban in September. Organizers say they accept all forms of film entries from drama to action and science fiction. For more information, go on www.uguff.wozaonline.co.za. You can send inquiries to ugufilmfestival@gmail.com. In Nigeria, Timi Dakalo has performed a song that many are saying could be the country's national anthem. This was at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland.
Here we stand as a people with one song.
Nigerian artist Timi Dakalo wowed the audience when he performed at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. The musician performed his inspirational hit single, Great Nation. This song has been touted by most music experts as the next national anthem of Nigeria because of the message it passes across. Dakolo is the winner of the first season of Idols West Africa, which he won in 2007. It was probably a good place for him to sing this song, as the Nigeria's President Goodluck Jonathan was there. Also at the event were his country's ambassador to Switzerland, Tony Elumelu, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, and many other distinguished statesmen.
We'll now go for a short ad break. Please stay tuned for more. Welcome back. The most loved play Beauty and the Beast, which has dominated in the United States, is now in South Africa. This musical play is based on the classical traditional fairy tale written in the 17th century and suitable for all ages.
The Barnyard Theatre production has started showing the classic fairy tale Beauty and the Beast here in Johannesburg. The musical, directed by Jean Boshoff, is based on the classical traditional fairy tale written in 1714. Caitlin Kilburn plays Belle, with Theardly playing the Beast.
She turned him into a beast because to show him, to be more kind to other people, and then he meets Belle, and the only way that the beast curse can be broken is if he finds true love.
Beauty had a life much different from Beast's royal upbringing.
Belle is from a little village, and she loves her father very dearly, but somehow her father gets caught up in a mess at the castle, and the beast basically says to her, you tried to steal from me, you come and you eat my food, you've been very disrespectful, and as your punishment I want you to send your daughter to come live with me. So that's how she ends up going to the castle.
This version of Beauty and the Beast features new sets, magical costumes, and some of the youngest musical voices from South Africa. It looks at the life of Belle and her dysfunctional family. She then falls in love with a scary but lovable beast. It has been newly choreographed with South African situations that locals will understand. It is currently in the Cresta Barnyard Theatre till mid-March.
Asatej SA hosted a day-long Theatre for Youth Forum at the Masambe Theatre, Baxter Theatre Complex this week. The purpose of the forum was to build and sustain relationships between artists, educators and the government. To tell us more about the forum, we are joined in studio by Kayla, an active member of Theatre for Youth. Hello and welcome to AfroShowbiz News.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Now, Kayla, please take us through what was the main purpose of this forum?
Well, the Theatre for Youth project aims to build a facilitating bridge between theatre and education. So the forum, it's the second forum that AfroShowbiz has hosted. The first one was in Joburg at the end of 2012. And the forum aims to bring together practitioners, teachers, educators, artists, officials, anyone who is working in the sphere of theatre for children and young people and arts education.
All right, now Kayla, you mentioned that this is the second forum. Take us through, how is this one different from the first one?
Well, sadly, I must admit that I wasn't at the second one, but I was very active in the first one. And the first one, and by all accounts, the second one, from what I hear, was a really great day, a vibrant day of conversation, a very necessary conversation about the arts for young people in South Africa, both in school and out of school. And it was just very good for all of us involved in that work to have a day to share our successes, but also our obstacles as well, what we find challenging in this area.
Now, the forum aims to build these relationships between artists and educators. Why do you think this is important, specifically for the youth?
Well, I think that we really need to be looking at how to increase the perception of value of the arts for young people. I think specifically theatre. We can see by our adult audiences that numbers are dwindling and not so many people go to the theatre anymore, or not so many people go to so many different kinds of theatre anymore. And I think that starts from a very young age. It's young people who go to the theatre will go to the theatre as adults. So I think it's very important that children and young people are given access to good quality theatre where they live. And that's not just in the cities, but in the rural areas as well. So AfroShowbiz SA and the Theatre for Youth project aims to address that. How do we get good quality performances and also workshops and educational experiences, arts experiences to these young people?
Now, as an active member of Theatre for Youth, what have you been doing? What has your role been?
Well, I'm the director of my own theatre company, and we do a lot of work for children and young people, especially in schools. But I was also the Theatre for Youth project coordinator for Gauteng in 2012 when we launched the project. So I was very active in building the network. It's an online database as well as a printed catalogue. The idea was to make people aware of what's out there. So teachers are, a big complaint that teachers often have is we don't know, we want to have theatre in our schools, but we don't know who's doing good work, where they are working, how much does it cost, and people are a bit nervous to, and the same for theatre companies, they have work, but they don't know which schools are open to inviting them in and what the schools are looking for, work, maybe they're looking for a set work, maybe they're looking for something educational around HIV or environment. So the Theatre for Youth project was really a way to connect those two parties and say, okay guys, start talking to each other. Here's a website where you can browse. It's almost like an online theatre shopping network. And for the theatre companies, start giving them tools to be able to create better work that is more age appropriate and also ties in with the curriculum.
I'm afraid that is where we'll have to leave it, but thank you, Kayla, for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
Nigerian singer D'banj has been named the face of one-year agriculture campaign. The singer will spend his time teaching the youth of Africa about the importance of agriculture. D'banj took part at the Africa Union Summit in Addis Ababa earlier this week. He was there to help the One organization to officially launch its year-long agriculture campaign. One is an international non-profit group campaigning to eradicate poverty through public awareness. The event saw the unveiling of the official name and logo of the campaign, as well as the launch of the One's online petition calling on leaders to invest more and better in agriculture.
I have a confession, don't take it personal. I have a confession, so you gotta listen. I have a confession, don't take it personal. I say I have a confession.
This month, the Cocoa Master will lead artists from around the continent in recording a song for the campaign. It will be produced by Nigeria's Cobham's Issa Cole. You are still watching AfroShowbiz News. If you have missed some of our shows, visit our YouTube page by simply searching for AfroShowbiz News. Don't forget to also email us at afroshowbiznews@sabc.co.za. Follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @AfroShowbiz News. Let's have a quick break. See you right after. The Gambia's second annual International Cultural Festival took place last week. It saw thousands of people converging on the Combo South, the coastal settlement of Sanyang.
The Gambia Annual International Cultural Festival showcases the heritage of the community while embracing unity among the different tribes in the country. The four-day fiesta was themed to explore wisdom in cultural diversity and traditional development. The National Council for Arts and Culture says this initiative is proving successful. The Combo South National Assembly praises the Gambia government for promoting the nation's cultures and traditions.
Lagos-based designer Amaka Osakwa of Maki O reflects the culture of the continent in her clothes.
Amaka Osakwe is a creative director of Maki O, a women's wear label conceived in 2010 to initiate a continuous appreciation for self and individuality through fashion. Designer Amaka Osakwe studied at the Arts University College of Bournemouth, where she obtained a BA Honours in Fashion Studies. Sustainability and ethical practices are also principles she strongly embraces. Her label Maki O is based in Nigeria and remains one of the few Nigerian-based brands that are globally acknowledged. The Maki O line debuted at 2012 with a collection titled Everything in Proportion, which showcased artistically crafted traditional motifs immersed with contemporary elements. Maki O's pieces are beautifully tailored, feminine and elegant, yet modern. Some of the label's famous clients include American singer and DJ Solange Knowles, actress Lily Sobieski, and Nigerian TV presenter Eku Edewo. She was named Designer of the Year by African fashion magazine Arise, and as part of her award, she will be showing her silhouette and African-inspired prints at the New York Fashion Week.
Andre has been in the theatre business for the past 23 years. His latest stage play, which currently shows at the Pieter Torin Theatre in Johannesburg, is called Andre.
Andre, the hilarious hypnotist show, draws many audiences across South Africa and in the neighboring countries. He has often been confused for a mentalist and magician. However, he's a comedian and stage hypnotist. Trained by the world's greatest hypnotist, Max Colley, Andre is best known for his ability to make people jump around on stage at the snap of a finger. He makes his volunteers speak moon language, forget their names, impersonate chickens, and perform a host of other routines. With his unique talent, Andre grabs the attention of his audience from beginning to the very end of each show. Andre has become popular within the South African entertainment calendar and beyond. His popularity spiraled him onto the public platform since the early 90s and has continued growing since. This hilarious hypnotist has won countless awards varying from the Best of First to Corporate Speaker of the Year. He is managed by the High Voltage Humor Group of companies, which prides themselves in promoting only the highest caliber of artists in Southern Africa.
The Breathe Sunshine African Music Conference and Unity Jam is set to take place in Cape Town on the 14th and 15th of February. The 2 days will see the best local and international artists come together to showcase and discuss music. This year's Breathe Sunshine African Music Conference will include Sunshine Connect, a subsection of the conference headed by African Dope Records founder Roach Roth. The conference combines panel discussions, workshops, and events that involve many key players in the music industry. Organizers say they also want to empower, inspire, and unite people in the field of music. This is to ensure their music reaches global stages. Digital media is also an important part of this show. The Breathe Sunshine African Music Conference ends with a reggae jam in Langa, headlined by Gentleman, a multi-award winning reggae artist from Germany. This week's must-read book is by Nigerian feminist author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Her latest offering is called Americana. Americana is a story of childhood sweethearts whose journey begins in school in Nigeria. The lives of the pair take a different turn when they leave their country to seek fortune in the United States of America and England. The book touches on relevant topics such as modern attitude towards race and individual identity. Americana is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's third novel. Her first, Purple Hibiscus, was long-listed for the Booker Prize. It tells the story of a young girl whose world is defined by the high walls of her family estate and the dictatorship of her religious father. Purple Hibiscus has been turned into a movie. Chimamanda's second book is the critically acclaimed Half of a Yellow Sun. It is a complex story of politics, love, identity, set in the backdrop of the Biafra War.
Yeah, but you see in these English boys.
It has also been turned into a film starring British actors Chiwetel Ejiofor and Tandy Newton.
You should eat first.
Chimamanda has also recently been featured on a track called Flawless by pop singer Beyonce Knowles. Samples Chimamanda's TEDx Houston talk on feminism.
We teach girls to shrink themselves, to make themselves smaller. We say to girls, you can have ambition, but not too much. You should aim to be successful, but not too successful, otherwise you will threaten the man.
We have now come to the end of our show, but catch the repeats at 2 a.m. and again at 1:30 p.m. every Sunday. We will be playing out with Nigerian duo P Square. The tune is titled Alingo. Do enjoy. From me, it's thank you and goodbye.
She's making me back like a bingo, and I'm gonna try to do the single. And the way that she's dancing, I don't know. She's making me back like a bingo, and I'm gonna try to do the single. And the way that she's dancing, I don't know. Cause tonight, I don't care what I will buy, cause I know we getting high. Put your hands up in the sky, Hey, yeah, you got me dancing a lingo. The way that you move in your window, dancing a lingo. Yeah, you got me dancing a lingo. The way that you move in your window, dancing a lingo. A lingo.